Speaking of a marketer, it is Friday. We're back, and Jess, it feels like we're a band that's been on hiatus for a while. So it's like we got the band back together, and we're ready to end this year strong. So happy post Halloween, happy Thanksgiving slash Christmas holiday time. Like, what's the vibe right now over at the household?
Yeah, we are here. We've been doing our LinkedIn thing, and lots of things have been happening in between with illnesses and all, and Halloween and all of that good stuff. But yeah, it's good to be back. And it's funny that you bring this up. I will tell you, yeah, there is a very specific vibe, very specific point of view in our household with the celebrating now. One, since we started celebrating Halloween in September, a first time for us. So we've had 2 months of celebrating Halloween. We
So you feel like the
started
marketing's worked. You feel
the
it's working
marketing.
for you. They're finessing you earlier. You're going to be going to Spirit Halloween in the second week of August soon, the way that this is moving.
Oh God, Andy, I can't handle it. Yes, but you're right. It worked. It worked. So yeah, I came in strong with the point of view that like this, I'm not gonna fall for it. Like this will not work. It's too early, too soon. Okay, September worked for
Yep.
us. Then because of that, now we started we started Christmas on November 1st. I
Yep.
can't believe
How it
this.
works.
And I'll say too, my two girls, they got a Halloween fever. So they have been at home this entire week, resting and recovering, and that was also the perfect kickoff to let's get this Christmas game started.
Yep.
Let's watch things to help them rest and feel good and feel better. So so we're in it now. And what I couldn't believe as well is on October 30th, I already saw Christmas lights, outdoor
Yeah.
lights, houses
That's a bit
fully up
aggressive.
and
Yep.
running. I was like,
Yep.
wow, okay, so we're pushing the November 1st boundary as well.
Yeah.
But I can't judge anymore because it's
You're all
on.
in.
Yeah.
No, the funny thing is we went to Lowe's, so we went to pick up some other stuff. But you know how they have a pretty elaborate holiday section now. Like it rotates between holidays, but they're all in as a brand on this. So you have the Halloween section. We went like a week before Halloween, and they already were moving Halloween out. It's like basically like, oh, you should have gotten your stuff and your animatronics and your inflatables by now. Like we've moved on to Christmas. Like come back next year. And I was like, wow, like they don't even wait for the holiday to end at this point. Like they're already moving on. So it's just a machine. But I think the marketing though, just like to an extent, the way that I view it, it actually plays into your whole nostalgia marketing theories that you have because you keep moving it up and up and up. People that are making the purchasing power are not your kids, they're the influencers. You're the one with the purchasing power. You're the CMO in this discussion, Jess. And they are trying to make it more acceptable for you to get earlier and earlier and earlier. So not only can you buy the decorations right now on end of October, beginning of November, you can come back in 4 weeks and still have plenty of time to make additions to it. So I think they like delve into this like happy place that you have as a kid, and they keep moving that happy place further up for you.
Oh yeah. It is on. Yes, looking to the past for happier times and just remembering amazing feelings. And I did feel it this year. I felt like people were really into it. Like
Yep.
it was outdoors. It was lots of people, everyone dressed up, no matter what the age, just high energy, excited to be celebrating all together.
Yeah.
That is something that I haven't felt since I was growing up in my small town in Hinsdale, Illinois, where people would go all out. It really did feel like hocus pocus. on Halloween night with like big block parties and big decorations and music blaring throughout the neighborhood.
You know, the thing that I think about, another like area I would relate this to is this year's been like the year of concerts for my wife and I. And there's always a lot of concerts in the Pittsburgh area, so that's not new. It's just when you look at the calendar, we finally found some that like really are like, oh yeah, this is what we listened to 20, 15 years ago. And we went and saw Yellow Card and A Day to Remember the other day. And thank goodness I was feeling better before that, because I was scared. Going to a concert sick would not have been ideal. However, so we get to it, and I just start to think like, yeah, there's a little marketing in play here that happens with like the nostalgia concert, and somehow like what you and I listen to has almost become like nostalgia music. But I'm seeing like this surge happening now for these concerts. Like Yellow Card actually has a #1 single right now. The dude's 45 years old and popping out like pop punk lyrics up there, and still sounds really good. There's almost like this new market that's come into play. It has a lot to do with the nostalgia, feel good. Everybody's there, like 30 somethings. Like, I wasn't doing this, I'm not this intense, but there's like 38-year-olds crowd surfing and acting like 18-year-olds again. And they like really reference this like during the concert. The singers like directly talked about this, about how it's a coming together. It's like bringing different people that might have different beliefs, but today we're all together. Like, this is community. And, in communities, you have like different sectors of each community, but you're still part of the overall community. And together, this is like the thing that like binds us. And I think that's like a nostalgia play, because like that's always been a part of music. So it's not relatively new. But I feel like it's being like overemphasized now with a lot of these groups, and they know there's a real angle there, and it feels authentic. So it doesn't feel like just marketing like put on. But I think it's really interesting because that's something that's been drawing us to a lot of shows. And it's like you almost come back from some of this like nostalgia, and you want to almost make it part of your current life. Like, let's go do that again, So it's kind of interesting to just how we see all this play out. I think that you started pointing to that 3 years ago. So it was like 2 years after the pandemic, and people are getting like more and more into this because they need to separate from like the social media noise. And like, I just keep seeing this grow. So it's just kind of a fascinating observation.
Nostalgia is where it's at. And for marketers and for business people. And on that note, Andy, because you did mention going to the concert ill, which you were not, or you were recovering. So
no, it's like that lingering thing, that
yeah.
You have a little cough still, but that's about it.
Yeah, and so to that point, since we're back into it, especially from the marketing perspective, business perspective, we're back into it. We're traveling, we're hustling during this period, and want to know, do you have any tips for the marketers out there? Like, how are you managing now the pre-COVID, what do you want to call it? Like the pre-COVID, I don't want to say illness, but like the shuffle, like the remix that happened when we were all traveling and pushing hard before the holidays.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's like almost inevitable. Like unless you have like a really good immune system, I feel like it's almost inevitable. Someone like, it gets always a little something. Like, this wasn't like a bad something. It was like sinus infection, like lingering type things. But I feel like what ends up happening to so many marketers in a hybrid style environment is they almost make it an excuse to keep working through it. And there was a point like last week, I just shut it down for a day. I was like, this doesn't make sense to keep going. The other thing for me, like, and this is where marketers, I will probably differ with a lot of them on this, is that traditional marketing schools, people will say like X's, O's, algorithms, AI, like all of this, like it is good to have. Like that is like 50% of the game. I'm not debating that. The other 50% of the game as a marketer is, can you speak and can you convey information to get buy-in and get community and teamwork? Often with people that are not exactly the same as you. Are you able to finesse your way in there? if you're sick and you're not like mentally there and able to speak properly, that is a big problem in the marketing room. So when people try to power this through, I wouldn't power it if you don't have it, right here and able to convey information. So I think that's such a lost skill. It's something that like if I like wanted to go on a rant today, we're losing that skill with just talking about AI 24/7. The ability to sell ideas, the theme of this season, you need to be well enough to be able to do that. So if I'm a marketer, I'm traveling, I'm getting sick, I need to make that judgment call. Like, do I have enough to power through? I feel like for me, not like being like bragging too much, but I've done some virtual sessions where I wasn't 100%. I know how to get my voice to a certain level when it's like 60% to be able to speak for 2 hours, but that's my radio background. Like I wouldn't force it. So like that'd be my advice. Is like you need to make those judgment calls if you think you're available and mentally like free to be able to do this.
Definitely. I also take a wellness formula, a wellness formula pill that you can get at Whole Foods or some type of health store, and it's got a lot of garlic and vitamin C and D and ginger, and they taste terrible, but
They
they
help.
can help. But you're right about that. I'm glad you brought that up because we were gonna do our Halloween episode, and at that point we had been off what 2 weeks prior to
Yeah.
that, just like given
We,
schedules
we,
and
we
given
just
how
were
things
kept both
pick.
kept
Yeah,
going down too.
yeah, like and we were marketing. The LinkedIn consulting is picking up. Like this is our if this was tax season, like this is our busy
Yep.
season
Because if you
right
don't hit the
now.
cutoff by like,
Yes,
so for me, if I don't hit the cutoff by like next week, for certain accounts, we're not speaking to them until mid-January. Because you
totally.
won't get everybody in the room until January again.
Yeah, so I'm so happy you pinged. I mean, when it hit you hard last week, we were gonna do this Halloween episode. You pinged me, and I did
4
want to
a.m.
see Ghost Andy. I know you pinged me for him, and you're like, I can't.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, it's good to have that self awareness, to know the limits, and like you said, it's not. So yes, even though we have not had a consistent presence
We've been doing
for
things.
for a month,
Yeah.
it's still better to focus on like getting better, especially in the role that we are in, because we
Yeah.
wouldn't, because it that that outweighs like trying to be consistently there. Because if we pushed through it, it would be a bad product.
Yeah.
Like the quality would not be there. So these, what I'm basically saying is like this is a situation. I know we put so much emphasis on consistency and
Mhm.
quantity, but this is really where quality does outweigh quantity.
So I think that's why there's so much nuance. Like, so like marketing rooms, there has to be nuance. So like there is best practice of like what we do, but there's like a level of adaptive. I can't say that word. Adaptability to what we
There
have
you
to
go.
do. So like, I even think about that in our consulting. There's so much like Andy, tell me what to do. I'm not like I let me reframe. I will guide you to like what I think could be helpful from our perspective, but telling you what to do, there's no exact playbook for any of this. That is the craft. Like again, like I get kind of an AI thing. Be the best AI marketer in the world. You can know everything about AI, but you can't convey it to an audience like at an emotional level. So there's like a lot of aspects there. So one thing I started thinking about, I think you'll like this, kind of like the prompt I thought about for today's episode, and this even relates to being sick, is I had to push a meeting back that was a prep for a workshop where we were talking to executives. So it's actually kind of a big pre-meeting because we need to know what direction this is going. So I put the email out, same thing. I was dead sick, and I sent that 4 a.m. out to you, Jess, to everybody. I was like, I'm going back to bed, and I don't know when I'm waking up. But that's like, it's not nothing is happening today. So I had to postpone that meeting, which moves everything back a little bit. And there's like 8 people on this call, so I am like affecting 8 people's schedules. For me as a marketer 15 years in, I feel free to be able to do that because that is kind of just like, I am not going to put together a positive product for today, and it's not fair to those other 8 people. Me as a marketer on like year 3 is probably just gutting that whole thing out and forcing it because I feel guilty that I've affected those 8 people. For me, like, I go to bed at night and I don't feel any type of guilt for that because people get sick and things happen. I give that same freedom and understanding to my coworkers, leaders, different things that happen because I trust that we all want to do a good job. Like, I just don't have this belief that people come into this craft to do a bad job or make excuses or do things. Like, maybe that makes me naive at some points, but I think that's a freedom I have. So I've been putting a lot of thought into that because I think just you and I talked about maybe a year ago, and like, are you free as a marketer, and is your brain free? Are you able to do things, or are you trying to do things for like 10 other people to make 10 different KPIs happy, and you get so lost in that that you don't even like know what the overall voice is. So like, one thing I'd say I'm really happy to say, and I've seen this in my work probably the last 3 months, probably the freest I've worked in a long time, the happiest I've worked in a long time. My clients be getting the best results they've gotten a long time. It's because I've given myself a lot of freedom to be like very transparent to people, whether it's good or bad, but it produces the type of work that's optimal. So at the end of the day, people are going to be happy when they see the end result. They may not always see like the process or get where it's going, but when they see the end result, it's working as good as it has because of that freedom to operate.
I love that. I think that is such a key insight and just such incredible self awareness. And that is the one thing that every listener should take away
Yeah.
from what we have been talking about.
Yeah. Operate free.
And
So,
yet, operate free, you're going to see your creativity, it's going to spark, you're going to unlock just so much more potential. Love it.
so big thing in when we had Melissa on for her book, one thing that I thought was really interesting hearing this from her CMO style level is so many marketers, they do something and then they don't necessarily get why. So like, I knocked this campaign out of the park, didn't get the promotion. Knocked this campaign out of the park, the client still left our agency. And they actually associate like marketing self-worth to that. And I think that is like this gradual like thing that like cuts at them. Um, Whether it's all the time, some of the time, but they don't feel like they're getting like some sort of recognition or some sort of seat at the marketing table, which she really put it back on the customer and said that, but what you're doing and what did succeed, you know that it helped somebody achieve X and Y. It brought somebody to this. It's like, you may not see that. It may not even get called out by your leaders, but you have to like frame your mind that you are creating that. It's like, you got to find like that place. And I think that I think it takes a long time for anybody to get there just because it's so much of a KPI industry.
Yes. Put it on the customer.
Yeah.
That's another thing that we always talk about over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That is so, so true. If you're interested in them being, and that's what matters.
So now, I started to like look around. So I'll be honest today, Jess. I looked on kind of like what's going on in the marketing world, and I'm kind of related to like this like freedom of like thought style marketing. So I go to a lot of marketing pages. I'm like, what are places doing? Like, the first thing I see is like, hey, this is like the new AI ad of the week. This is some actor and actress that joined our marketing pitch, or our marketing this week. And I keep just seeing like, I think we talked about this like a little bit ago. Like, we had a can episode. It's like it all like kind of like follows kind of some certain theme. Maybe it's not wrong for everybody, but what I do think is I see this like exclusion of, if we don't have all these bells and whistles, like, kind of where do we land? And that's something that I think that a lot of marketers are still trying to find out. But it's not really that human nature, like I don't know, like that's like the one thing. If we were to go into season 4, like I almost want the prompt to be like, "How are you being human?" Like that's be the first question to our guests. Like I was gonna drop that and see where they take us.
Yep, and that's where I saw the announcement yesterday from Microsoft AI and their point of view on what they're trying to do and making it, a human output, like as human as possible, connecting on a human level.
Yeah,
Now, we'll see if everyone wants that
yeah.
to TBD, but it was a different stance from what I'm seeing from all these other organizations that are looking to be the leader in AI. I mean, they're really trying to rev up the human element of this technology.
So if you were workshopping with Microsoft, let's say hypothetically, Jess, you're like workshopping with them right now, and they're saying, "How do we take this to market?" Like, what are you telling them to do to appear more human with their AI approach?
Well, what I would do is like, okay, if this is the game changer, this is the how might we, they're sharing their point of view. I'd get out there with the marketing team and with the product team with some low resolution prototypes. Okay, so like pen to paper, it does not need to be high res, and hit the streets and start talking to people and share the prototype and use that as an empathy interview to learn more so you can understand, like, do we have the right problem here? And that's going to help you get to that game changing solution. So iterate off the interview and off the prototype.
I would almost too, as you're doing that type of like research, like almost like if you're doing like the man on the street type thing, I would be asking, why do you not use AI? Because I think you're going to find from a lot of common people, marketers, yes, general people, mixed bags. So like I think if you could answer that almost like, well, you could use AI in your Microsoft Excel spreadsheets to speed up X and Y by this percent. Here's how, and show like a quick trick of how that's done. Those are the kinds of things when I see them, I'm like, okay. Like for instance, I'm working on something today where I'm making a brief, Chat GPT. I run my templates through that now. Like I don't go to like sites and find templates anymore. I let them develop the template and I fill in the information. Speeds me up probably 1,000%. So like real use cases, still fine though. Like this isn't Microsoft. This is just like all of AI. I still find though, like, is that being articulated real clearly for like real use? So like I think what you're saying, like, could they gather that data and put these real use cases in bite-sized formats that people can understand?
You bring up a good point though, with the prototype and doing that type of research or having those types of conversations. Go out there. So it's like you've got your game changer. Go out there and focus on one feature.
Yeah.
One, and then as you focus on like that one feature within the AI, like how, like, is this is this a human functionality? Is this a human feature? And then you're going to have your conversation, then you're going to see the people interact with that feature, and then you'll learn through that
Yeah.
if they are interacting. Because
Yeah.
then it's like, you're right, if you see that they like it, they don't like it, then you can follow up with that question. Like, well, how are you using AI? Like, like, I noticed that you didn't, like, you had a sour face when you were
Yeah.
going through this part. Like, why? Tell me more. Like how are you currently using it? And then that's perfect. And then you collect. Remember, it's like you're collecting through these interviews.
Yeah.
And getting to know the customer. You're collecting these data points,
Yeah.
and then you come back as the team and you determine, okay, do we really have the right problem here?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think as marketers, as business people, it's so easy, and we're so trained to just jump to the solution when we need to be placing more focus on the problem. We talk about this a lot as well. And like the problem and the deep understanding of the customer. Because if we know that, then we'll get to that breakthrough that we need to get to.
That's the number one breakdown I'm having with marketing teams right now. So one thing I'm finding as I workshop with a lot of different verticals is I will ask, what are the detractors to your product or to your brand? And there's a lot of times when I ask that, I don't get a very conclusive answer. It's kind of like guessing. Like as a marketing team, especially end of year, if you get to the end of the year and you're planning, like whether it's new fiscal or just new calendar year, you know, I should have that very well documented. Like, why does someone not want to use our product? Because then we talk about using AI here, Jess. Then I'm gonna, like whether I'm writing it or Chat GPT is writing it, I want to like ask and figure out like how would we write to this, and what are the potential ways that we could answer detractors in a conversational, not negative way that kind of like makes sense to them.
I'm back. I
It's
thought
just
you were still just rolling with it. I
back
just
from a different
sat there with
measure.
straight face, smiling, and I'm like, okay, this is
Yeah,
gonna
she's
happen.
back.
Andy's got
Yeah.
this.
No, no, that's the unfortunate non-benefit of not having a guest with us today. Because I'll just be like, let's ask them another question, like carry on.
So you were talking about the benefit of understanding, like
Yeah, just the
are the
detractors.
detractors, are they using what we're trying to sell? Yes, that is a
Yeah.
fundamental question.
So let's close on this because I know that we have an exciting moment coming up, and actually two. So we need
Moments,
to talk
yes.
about like, um, we have both a panel episode we're putting together, which just I have
Roundtable.
a roundtable episode, which I have a whole other idea. I want you to know, I haven't told you this yet, but I am starting to put notes together for our second roundtable in January, which is going to be social media managers roundtable. But first, I want us to talk about the one we're doing here in a few weeks, as we, got to round a lot of people up. So we're trying to get the scheduling down. But what are we doing for our roundtable coming up?
So we're going to have an incredible discussion roundtable with some fantastic perspectives across many disciplines and industries talking about improving digital health. And specifically, there's going to be a little bit of focus for children and kids, but you're going to see through this discussion how it really applies to everyone. It applies to adults, children, parents, non-parents. I mean, it's going to be a fantastic learning opportunity, even for our roundtable guests who literally are focused in this area on the daily.
Yeah.
And I'm really really excited because this is such a relevant topic, and I feel like everyone is talking about social, digital, screens, and how it's impacting our health and well-being.
And, it could be good for marketers too. We talk about like marketing freedom today. Like, I think there's like this ethical dilemma that a lot of marketers insert themselves into, because again, like they could be marketing for audiences, individuals, channels that are different than themselves. Like they may go home and want nothing to do with this stuff. So it's like, where is like they're like, how are they feeling about that as it results to youth, and maybe it can provide some inspiration there. So I'm going to be interested just to be like fly on the wall for some of this. Like I'm more of the mediator. I want to bring it out of people, but I'm super curious what direction it ends up taking us.
Yes, and I think the whole purpose too of coming together in this roundtable format and the learning opportunity is, like you're saying, there is no right answer to this, and it's
Yeah.
all about us. Like you're probably going to be surprised because there's going to be people in the industry that you would think you would think like they're all about the screen time, or maybe that they work in social like us, and they're not about the screen time,
Yeah.
and it's just I think you're gonna find that no right answer, and it's like people don't know don't
Yeah.
know what they don't know, so this is a chance for us to get together to talk about it, have this open discussion, and have it on LinkedIn, and learn and share with one another.
So to round out, we also got one more different episode on Horizon. We're looking towards early December. We're going to attempt a live, like in the same room style episode. So that will be exciting. Logistically, we'll make the decision if we should do it live or not, like to make sure, because we've never tried it. So we'll see if it's the right move. I think we can based on the software we're using, but I think that should be interesting. We always try to act like this is like we're in the same room, and I think the old school podcasts, they all used to be like that, like 2012, but things have changed a lot in the modern era, so it should be exciting, see where we go with it.
Yes, the big news there is Andy and I will be in New York together. We are finally meeting
Yes.
after being like this close remotely for 3 years,
Yeah.
speaking to each other every week. Now we're finally meeting in person. So you're going to see a lot of content
Yeah.
from us.
Different types of
And I
content.
think we should do live. Let's
Yeah.
do it. I mean, Andy, what do we have to lose? Like
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, we're just testing.
Yeah.
It's so funny when we were talking about video right now on LinkedIn. I realize, and this is something that we talk about with our marketers that we're consulting about, like the safe zones and like playing around with video on LinkedIn. I went back through some of my videos as like I'm getting into this, and I realized, oh man, I didn't account for safe zones, so
Oh, yeah,
you
you're breaking
can't.
all the rules.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I just went back, like just quickly made those updates and like deleted the old videos and then just posted them. I'm like, I'm not. Anyway, it's a good test and
Yeah.
learn
Yeah.
opportunity and playground.
And the thing is, if like something doesn't take off, like there's no one, for the most part, I should say. I guess big brands maybe might be a little different, but for the most part, there's no one that's sitting and over analyzing every single post you ever do that doesn't work. Like people see it, whatever, they move on. Like that's just the thing. I think that people can just get so hung up on all the technical aspects. You almost, we talk about freedom of like being a marketer today. Like you have to give yourself that too, like to be able to do these things.
Totally. Yes. So yes, the freedom is coming in the first
Yeah,
week of December with us. I'm so pumped. Pumped. This roundtable and December, we are going to really be bringing it.
Well, that'll be a wrap for this episode. Season 1 guest coming back next week. I'll just tease it with that. So I think we're at the point, especially in season 3 going into season 4. We brought back a few guests, but there's a handful. I'm like, I need to see what they've been doing the last 3 years. So like we're going to start bringing some of them back here and there. They're going to get some different prompts than they've had before. And I think it'll be kind of interesting because 3 years in marketing, Jess, in marketing years, it's somewhere around, I would say, like 12 to 15 years of like human years. So, we'll see how they've aged in the last 15 years since we've last talked to them.
Yes, we're at the armchair and the armchair expert and the smartless
No.
level where you
Yeah.
just you bring back the people that you learned the most from. And I think we could I would bring back all of our guests. I would
Yeah.
love to do a
Just
check-in
redo
with all of our
season 1.
guests.
That'd be
Yes.
funny if we just redo the whole season again.
Yeah,
You know?
there we go.
All right. Well, we're at time, Jess. Fun to get back at this again. Some new episodes coming soon. Look for them. LinkedIn pages, YouTube pages, all the pages. Like, just give us a check. We'll start updating what those schedules look like, especially as they're nuanced episodes. So we'll get the word out a little bit earlier on those than maybe sometimes. But until then, we'll talk to everybody soon.